about teamwork and probably things that you should and shouldn't do. Like, for instance, chutes and ladders. Like, if you steal cookies from a cookie jar, you're gonna probably go down in a slide and you're probably gonna get stuck.
My opinion is that the hard parts, because you have to use critical thinking and try and beat it.
Games can be used to measure student performance in many ways. As teachers utilize them more, we'll find even more ways to assess students with them. One way is a performance-based situation in which students role play and complete tasks assigned by the teacher. As the teacher facilitates and observes the group working, he or she can make notes or use a checklist to indicate what skills learned they have observed. Games can also be used to evaluate teamwork skills. Students can evaluate one another based on a rubric. If a point system is utilized, they can be added up and a grade determined. Teachers can also make observations during the student interactions and score accordingly based on what they've observed against a set of criteria. Many games use a status chart that indicates a level or accrual of skills or objects. These can be used to assess student achievement. Screenshots can be taken and submitted by the student as a source of documentation. There's no doubt that most students find gaming fun and engaging. However, they can also be used to assess student progress or diagnose an area of weakness. Games can assess skills efficiently and objectively. Assessment through games may become a teacher's best friend in the future. This week, I learned more on why people love games through McClelland's motivational theory. One reason they are of high interest is because games can provide a personal satisfaction such as achievement, power, affiliation, accomplishment, etc. Satisfaction will vary from person to person, but these are a few universal motivators. World of Warcraft was one example that had all of the motivators. I also learned through the game Call of Duty 4 about the 9 events of instruction by Robert Gagne. I appreciate learning the 9 steps because I can now apply them when creating a game on my own or showing my students a way to develop their own games in class. On my own this week, though, I sat down with my husband and son as they played Medieval 2 Total War and asked them questions. One thing I have found interesting when I've talked to everybody, kids or adults, is they can't tell me right off what they're learning. They always say they're learning nothing, but it's not until I probe deeper can I help them realize that they're learning skills such as strategy, history, civilization interactions, critical thinking, and so on. I think this is where the big roadblock is when it comes to bringing them into the classroom, because most people are of this mindset. So I believe that is where educators can now step in and direct the progress. As I sat and I watched my husband playing and listened to them telling me about the game, I was thinking to myself, wow, this game is really cool. It's like watching a medieval movie, but interacting with it and making decisions that change the course of events that go on. Wow, how cool it is. I also asked questions about how they protected the horses with decorative armor. Did they really use this? Here's a motivator that hasn't been tapped into to research the answers for myself. I saw the use of elephants with pretty cool protection on as well. Did they use this too in wars? Again, my own inquiry provides the motivation to learn. This is differentiated instruction at the highest level because it's self-directed. I don't need a teacher determining my educational goals.
You can build different buildings and you could build farming, you could build roads, you could build military units.
So when kids play this game, they really have to do a lot of critical thinking, don't they? They have to take all that into consideration before attacking or whatever they're doing, right?
Sure.
That's a lot of information.
And so you got to remember, each city is doing something different.
As I researched on my own this week, I learned more about gaming than ever. Now, I want game makers to start creating more standard-based games that can be used in the classroom. Perhaps I can find a job doing this.
Scientific discoveries such as gunpowder, you're developing weaponry, you're developing cavalry. You might be developing some scientific discoveries that assist you in the future.
So some technology?
Yes.
So if you were going to play this game in a social studies class,